Today we're using news from training camp to do a quick market watch for Dynasty Fantasy Football. We're going to be looking at the player values. We're going to work that in with the news from training camp with some of these players who have been hitting, who haven't been hitting, who's skyrocketing, who's not. But we're going to look at the advanced analytics, the market, and see what we want to do with these players. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're helping you build your Dynasty teams every day. We're looking at training camp every day, and we're building and we're looking at those redraft teams every single day as well. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're starting off with Jalen Tolbert. News came out from a prominent source from the Dallas Cowboys media that he's been looking good. The question is it good enough? And is it good enough for it to equate to fantasy football production? Right now, he's being valued as wide receiver 89 in ADP, and the trend line for his value went up a little bit, and it's holding steady. CeeDee Lamb's going to get a lot of the work. He's going to get about 30% target share. It's going to be hard for another wide receiver to eat outside of Brandon Cooks, who's going to give you some spotty production. Jalen Tolbert's production has been going up a little bit each year, but really not enough to get you excited. He had a 5.8% target share, had a game where he scored 13 fantasy points, but that's about it. Maybe he scores a little bit more. Maybe he averages 5 points a game. Maybe it means he averages 8 points a game. Maybe we get a blow-off top season. He is a G5 player trying to transition to the NFL level. That could take him a little bit longer. From what I do know, from what I've heard, what I don't really know, but what I've heard is that the Dallas Cowboy organization likes him. They did not bring any wide receivers of consequence during the offseason. Michael Gallup's gone. By proxy, he should be getting more target share, more opportunities, running more routes. Jalen Tolbert, I would not say he's a buy, but watch the tea leaves here. See if he's getting more workload. See what's happening in these preseason games. Training camp's still fresh. Maybe he gets more opportunity, but the news is hovering. Jonathan Mingo. Over the weekend, he went off in 11 versus 11s, just catching every ball that went his way. Looking good, was getting a lot of targets, and the market's dead on him. And I understand on that, and I'm not here to say he's a good player or a bad player. I'm just saying, hey, the other day, practice on Saturday, 11 on 11s. He was making plays. He was getting targeted a lot. He did have his moments last year. 43 balls caught, 418 yards as a rookie, a 17.5% target share. So he was on the field. He was getting opportunity last year. He also had some injuries last year that slowed him down. He's got good size adjusted athleticism. He has good ball skills downfield. Had a decent average depth of target last year. This team kind of showed their hand with Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette. They are moving away from him, but this is also a new regime. They may not know what they had in Mingo. After all, they're just now getting looks under the hood. You need to just monitor him. Again, just like Jalen Tolbert. Watch him, see what's happening. ADP 217. We've seen weird stuff happen before. We're only going into year 2. Mingo does have some athletic upside to his game. He did have some moments last year. We had 3 games of over 10 fantasy points. That looks good. And the thing is, the situation here is not so grand. Deontay Johnson should be getting a good target share. Xavier Legette's good. He's a good rookie. Very similar profile to Mingo, but they're vastly different as well, too, on how they play the game. Mingo, though, might have had a fire lit under him. That might have happened. Watch him in training camp. Rashee Rice, wide receiver 39. The market is dipping on him. And the thing about this, he may not get suspended this year. It may happen in the spring. And if that happens, you're getting production now. And that suspension might just be a little slap on the wrist or just a few games, maybe 5, 6. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. But we're deep into July, almost into August. No suspension. Nothing really happening in the court dates or anything like that. It's all going to be later. Looks like he's going to be good to go for the season. And the NFL acts a few months after everything goes down in the court system. So if you're looking for a wide receiver for the now, you might be looking at Rashee Rice because he's looking good in minicamp, OTAs, and training camp. The reports are saying when he was on the field during minicamp that he was one of the best players. Not just wide receivers, one of the best players. Then we get to training camp. He's popping off. He's dipping in ADP, which means he could be more liquid in your league, but he might be a hard hold in your league as well. Marquise Hollywood Brown. We're with the Chiefs. We're looking good in camp. We're catching balls. We're with Patrick Mahomes. We're valued as wide receiver 44 in ADP. ADP is 79, but he has been productive everywhere he's been. Now we got Patrick Mahomes. If Rashee Rice gets suspended, and even if it's next year and he's on the team, that just means more targets for him. This is a fast-paced offense. The contract's rather interesting for him, but still we got a lot of upside. Braylon Allen. Looking good. Looks like he's probably going to be the RB2 there. I'm not seeing every play. I'm just seeing some clips. But he's looking explosive. Remember last year he was playing with an ankle injury. A lot of people were pounding his tape saying it wasn't that good. But again, he was nicked up. He's looking good in camp right now. Looks like he could be the guy behind Breece Hall. Something happens to Hall. Allen could be the guy. Trey Benson looks electric. He's catching balls and drills. He reeled off a good run in 11 versus 11s. He's running with good pop. He's looking steady. His upside is very grand, and he's being valued at RB15. The market's trying to play it safe with him because he's behind James Conner. Not a pristine profile, but with the 4.3 speed and the size, allows you to see where he could go in the rankings. If he taps in that upside, could be a top pick in Dynasty. Something to look at here, considering the value. Bo Nix is looking okay at training camp and mini camp. The reports are saying he's on the money. He's just not super flashy. He's very accurate. He gets the job done. He's been looking like a lunch pail quarterback who just gets after it, but he's not slinging sidearm balls. He's not slinging electric deep balls. He's just on the money, keeping the chains moving, looking good in those regards. That's the news with him, and the media seems rather happy with him between those who are there at Denver Broncos training camp. Jalen McMillan is getting work with the ones that I'm seeing in clips. He's looking good. He's getting targets behind the line of scrimmage and downfield. He's rather cheap in ADP right now. His value's starting to trend up. But Chris Godwin, Mike Evans should see a boatload of targets. Rumor is Godwin's going to get more opportunity in the slot, and that's what we've seen out of him before at a 70+% slot rate. Jalen McMillan could be the guy on the outside in 3 wide receiver sets. They drafted him in the 3rd round. He's got some pop in his step. They got other wide receivers that could compete for that. But over the long term, and as a flyer guy to look at, Quentin Johnston, wide receiver 65. The Chargers keep pumping out clips on him. You do what you want with that. I can tell you both ways. That could mean good things. Remember, we got the Harbaugh regime in there. Harbaugh's never going to say anything bad about a player. We do have Ladd McConkey. There is one clip out there of him making a splash catch downfield. That's marvelous. The clips I am seeing that are looking good, they're either like 1v1 drills where he makes the play, or it's a quick snapshot drill. It's not 11 on 11s. It's not very diversified. That's making me scratch my head on Quentin Johnston. So honestly, wide receiver 65, if you want to take a shot on a 1st round pick, go ahead. The market's down on him. The market might be correct here. After all, we might see a slower paced offense with targets going to Ladd McConkey and Trey Palmer. Quentin Johnston needs to step it up. Zach Moss. So the media is saying Chase Brown's the guy, but then you hear other factions from the media saying Zach Moss is the guy. Pads are going to start popping soon. That's when we're going to get our information. The market's going to stay the same here until we get concrete information. Chase Brown is rather explosive. He's an incumbent. He was very productive in college. I would not be surprised if he gets the job. Zach Moss is very dependable between the tackles and in pass protection. Due to that, I would not be surprised if he gets the job. If you want to play it safe, you can really say that this workload's probably going to be split up between the 2 running backs, but you need to watch this backfield. This is an explosive offense that if any one of these running backs wins the job outright, they're going to catch tremendous dynasty value. Deontay Johnson's going to be the guy. He's getting targets in the passing game, whether he's catching the ball or not. He did have some drops in practice, but he is creating separation. He's getting targets. He's getting a lot of work. Had a 23% target share last year. Probably will get around 25 this year. Will probably get you around 11 to 15 fantasy points per game. Probably going to hover somewhere around 12 or so. Somewhere around that. He's going to get a lot of volume. He's going to give you a lot of upside. We saw that in Pittsburgh last year, but it was a downgrade at quarterback. I expect this offense to have a little bit more pop to it. Justin Fields is looking good. Justin Fields might be stepping up. Russ has been out due to a calf injury, a small one, but Justin Fields has been taking the reins. Watch this battle outright. QB 31 and QB 33. QB 33 is in Superflex, by the way. Cheap. He's valued as a backup right now, but if on the field, he's a QB1. Try and get that investment. I imagine whoever has him, they're holding tight, but he's looking good in training camp right now. He's connecting with deep balls. He's looking good. I know he looked good in training camp with the Bears at moments, but that is the information we have. He's got a good connection with George Pickens. He could beat out Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson looks like he's got a fast track to the starting job, but this team does not have much invested in either quarterback. I imagine it's whoever looks the best within these next few weeks, so you got to pay attention. Maybe you take a gamble here on Justin Fields, but those are 12 players we're looking at in Dynasty. From the news from training camp, the values are going up and down. Everything's changing it by the day, and it's going to change it even more when we get in season. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.